cloud technology. You can pretty much get whatever song or artist or whatever you want music-wise from there. Also, Slack or personal radio has become really popular. It's just an online radio station. You can listen to, again, whatever you want. So, but Pandora and Groove Sharp and Spotify pretty much lead the pack on that. So, and then of course we go into the cloud. Cloud technology has become really popular in the last few years. It's basically a giant internet storage space. It has some positives and cons. I mean, Google Play has used it to create a giant place for all its Google account holders via Google Music. And of course, Apple has put their foot in with iCloud via, of course, iTunes, since it's their product. Amazon has also gone into it via, they have their own Amazon Cloud Drive, and they have which uses a cloud player, coincidentally, to play the media, in this case audio and music. But one issue that's been plaguing the cloud technology is cyber locker services. The thing with that is it has created a way for piracy to be undetectable. Because on CyberLocker websites, you can't. There's no search bar for exactly. You just pull up whatever media you threw on there, and then so it's harder for cybersecurity or cyber law enforcement to track down anyone trying to commit piracy. Also, so that kind of leads us into copyright law, which is kind of a giant thing. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Audio Home Recording Act of 1982. Basically, this is an act that pretty much protects you from making a copy of something you bought, like a movie, music, whatever, unless you do it for profit. As long as you don't do it for profit, you're fine, or for educational purposes or whatever. But it's when you make it for a commercial use that most people tend to have an issue with that. And then they usually ask for a royalty fee, and then if they usually don't receive that royalty fee, or fees, could be more, then they usually call it piracy, or theft. Everyone will get it. And then the next one is the Digital Performance Right and Sound Recordings Act of 1995. Basically, what this one pretty much did was gave copywriter owners the privilege or the right, however you want to look at that, to let other people use their content, which makes sense, But usually, when someone asks to use someone else's content, usually labeled intellectual property in legal standards, usually they want a fee of some sort, and usually several fees, depending on how much content and how much wants to be used and for what purpose. And usually, especially through sales, especially like movies and through TV shows and like the music industry itself, every time that you hear that music or hear that video being played, all of a sudden they want to see their music. They see their get paid for the intellectual property. And another one is no electronic theft law. Basically, that one is what I said earlier about taking intellectual property and trying to make a profit off of it. This is when cyber cops pretty much go after people who are trying to make a profit off of content they did not purchase, or having other people did. Or they may have purchased it, but then they're giving it to other people for no price at all. So the people who own that intellectual property are making what's due to them, cost-wise and price-wise. And the last one we're talking about, which made kind of an impact on this world of copyright and forensic musicology, is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1988. Basically, it went a step further and tried to protect the copyrights of intellectual property of music, audio, video, and basically it also created DRM, which is Digital Rights Management Protection Software, that's usually put on a lot of downloadable media, like music, audio, video. That way it's harder to, download for free. You have to pay for it. So, like through iTunes or Google Play or however you want to do that, or through Rhapsody or Grooveshark. But one big issue that came up, especially with torrents and file sharing, was the case of MGM Studios versus Grokster Limited. Basically, it was over Grokster sharing MGM media with other people without people paying for that content. They could just download it from Grokster for free. So there was a giant lawsuit in June of 27th of 2005, and the Supreme Court ruled that file sharing was illegal without in the purpose of downloading media content. Basically saying that you got to pay for that content if you want it. And next thing we're going to talk about is some issues that have come up in copyright. Like with CDs. Thing with CDs is they don't have a DRM on them, or digital rights management. So it's very easy to rip a CD onto a computer and just give the songs or playlists or whatever away for free and without being traced by cyber police. The U.S. Department of Justice and RIAA, or RIAA, have started cracking down based on the Digital Millennium Copyright Act on people who are not paying for media content like music and audio and video. And one thing they've done is if you have an internet service at home, which most of us should, a lot of your service providers like Charter, Comcast, used to be Questar, but now it's CenturyTel, AT&T, Verizon, pretty much Cox Cable, anyone who really provides internet service have decided to do what's called graduated response, which is kind of so slow, but basically they're trying to help stop piracy, online piracy, and they're working with cyber police to stop that from happening or try to at least slow it down. But in reality, it doesn't always, not always a perfect way to go. So it doesn't always work. So also another thing is called Pirate Bay. Basically, they got in trouble for basically doing what Grokster did with file sharing, trying to help people get music and content for free without paying for it. And then one also that's kind of given an issue, especially with CyberLocker services, is Mega Upload. Mega Upload is, again, a CyberLocker service. Basically, it's hard to detect any media that's been uploaded or downloaded off of it because they don't create a search for it. It's just people allowing other people to access their content and download. So it's harder for cyber police to track what they do. The two big names in copyright enforcement are ASCAP and BMI. They copyright pretty much most of the music copyright industry. There are others out there that are more specific, but most usually come through those two. Also, one more thing is Grooveshark got in trouble a few years ago because they failed to get the licenses to run an online radio station. So it seems like in the last few years that the Department of Justice, RIA, FCC, all of them are really, really cracking down on piracy. So, because it has really cost the music industry a bunch of money. So my question for this class is, in the future, do you think the music industry will survive with piracy on the rise? And also, what new technologies are available and foreseeable in 10 years for music and audio production? Thank you for watching. Look forward to your replies, and I'll see you online. Thanks.